So in this video, I'd like to share with you my most updated version as of today of my Amazon brands research system. And I'm going to show you a few things I have in here that I didn't have before and how everything works. So basically the point of the system, if you haven't seen it before, is that you store brands. Okay, you can maintain a list of brands here, and you can quickly, using these automated links, you can check certain things about the brand. Right, and then over here you find the suppliers that these brands are coming from. All right, and sometimes it might be the other way around, you do the supplier first, but you're going to basically write down up to 10 suppliers that match that brand. Right, and usually it won't be 10, but you can do as many as 10, and you do that in each row of the spreadsheet for each brand. Right, now one thing I'm going to do is freeze the top 2 rows, so when you scroll down it doesn't go any further than that. And then right here I'm going to freeze up to this column, column N. Okay, so and then I'm going to show you how this works. Now in other videos I use the supplier as an example, and I'm using them as an example just right now to demonstrate how the sheet works. Alright, so one brand from this supplier, Webstaurant Store, is a Copa, so I would enter the brand of Copa here. Supplier 1, I don't really feel like typing that out, so I'm going to actually highlight the domain. Now it's important that you understand that I'm using the domains for the supplier name, so that means the name of the website .com. That's what you call a domain name, right? And I'm going to paste that in here. So that is webstaurantstore.com. Okay, that is the supplier, right? And I put that in supplier 1. Now immediately you're going to notice something here, and this is the thing that is different that I added. You're going to see not found, right? This green box, what this allows you to do now is to actually type in the name of a supplier domain, and then it will tell you which brands in here, okay, have that supplier, right? So what's going to happen is I'm going to actually type in Webstaurant Store, right, .com in here, or I could have copied and pasted it actually, and you'll see the word found will pop up automatically using the formula that I put here, and it will light up in green. Okay, so that means that it found Webstaurant Store in here, in these suppliers over here to the right. Okay, so that's going to come in handy when you have, like, as you fill this up and the sheet gets very large, it's going to be, you're going to have all different suppliers in here. It's going to be hard to know which one has what suppliers in it, so you're going to put this in and they will light up. Okay, and then of course you can also filter them right here, so you'll be able to filter out this, and you'll be able to just leave behind the one that found the supplier, right? So this is going to be very powerful for sorting your brands by supplier. Okay, and that is how this is going to work. So I'm just going to add in just a few more so you just can kind of see how it looks at least. So I should have had my brands list open here. I'm just going to throw in a few if I can remember off the top of my head. I think Carnival King was another one I had, and I had used, and there was another one I did, Choice. Okay, I'll just do these 3. And these are all 3 that same supplier, Webstaurant Store, and you'll just see how these all light up green, right? And then I'm just going to throw, just as an example, okay, I'm just going to say mainstays just as an example. I'm not saying to use this brand or supplier right now or anything. I'm just showing you how it works. Okay, and I put Walmart.com, and you're going to see not found. Why? Because Webstaurant Store is not found in here. I didn't put Webstaurant Store, right? Mainstays is not from Webstaurant Store. Mainstays is from Walmart.com, so it's saying not found, right? No suppliers, because there are no suppliers even in here, right? So it's going to say no suppliers. So that's basically how this works. All right, as you add more and more brands, you add more suppliers. Where now if I were to put Walmart.com here, you would see that that one will light up green instead, right? And these are saying not found, meaning Walmart.com is not found with these 3 brands, but it is found with this one. And again, you could filter it, take those off, and you will only see the one found at Walmart, right, for example. Okay, so that is something that a new thing that I added that I think is helpful because you don't know. The thing is, Webster Store might be supplier 1, but on another brand it could end up being supplier 3, right? So they're going to be all over the place. This is going to look, this actually looks not just, one thing I wish I could let you see, it looks not only in the first column, it looks in all of the columns. So like even, okay, let's say down here, if I were to put Webster Store down here, I'm going to copy and paste it. Copy. If I were to put it here, supplier 3, and then I were to put the Webster Store here, okay, and sorry I changed the format. Let me do that again. Paste special values, right? It still finds it even when it's in supplier 3. It still finds the Webster Store. See? So it doesn't matter where Webster Store is. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's supplier 1, 2, 3. It could even be supplier 10. Okay, if I paste it in here, all right, it will still find that supplier no matter what supplier number you are. Okay, if that supplier is in that row, if he's on this row with this brand, then it's gonna light up and let you know about it. Okay, so this is this is pretty good, you know, for working with your brands, to know what suppliers they come from and to be able to, you know, have it highlighted when you're looking for a certain supplier, right? So this is going to come in handy as you build the database. So one thing you've got to understand, you know, I really want sellers to understand is that this is not an overnight, right, thing, right, with building an Amazon business. Part of it is really building a database. You have to build a database of brands. You got to build your database of suppliers and of products, right? So this is how you do it. You need to have a system, right? And so I'm providing the system which I'm using right now, and I'm hoping that it might come in handy for some other people. Now, the other thing, the last thing probably, I would think, yeah, that I want to show here is that I added Claire buttons. These run by a script which is coded in the script editor of the Google Sheet. So here's the thing, right? This allows you to clear all of this, right? Because what's going to happen, I didn't really do this part. You're going to be filling this stuff in, right? Like you're going to check the brand for approval. Brand is on Amazon. You can say yes. Okay, you have approval on it. Okay, this is to check the restricted list, right? It's not on any restricted list, so you can say no. And then this is to do the Amazon search. Search the product on Amazon. You can kind of make some notes what kind of results you got. You know, you can just write something down. Sold by the brand owner. It's not, I didn't really do that here, but do they have a store? I don't think they do. And to know if they really have, well, that's not it. And then to find out if they have a store, you open one of their products and you click on the name of the brand. You don't see that store thing show up, right? There's no home page, store page. It's just products. So no, they do not have a store, right? Okay, and then you can also Google if you just feel like Googling the brand. You can do that too if you want to just look up the brand and see what comes up. All right, and so you're filling in the sheet. But if you, for some reason, you wanted to clear the sheet, maybe you might make another copy of the sheet, for example. You might be researching a lot of different things at the same time. Maybe you don't want to put everything in one system. I don't know, maybe, right? So maybe you might, for example, just make another copy of this, right? I'll just go ahead and make a copy of it to show as an example, right? So when you make this other copy, you might decide, okay, well, I've got this copy, but now I don't want the stuff that's in it, right? I don't want these brands and suppliers. Now, it's kind of annoying to have to, especially if it's a long list, to go like this, highlight, delete this one, highlight. So what you're going to do, I made a button. It's going to go right to these columns and delete them. So you're going to click clear brands, and it's going to run a script that is going to delete those columns. Okay? Now, what's going to happen, because I made the file originally, it remembers that, okay, there's a script attached. So it's going to ask for permission. So you're going to have to continue and give it permission to run. Okay? Your account will come up like this. All right, this is my Teach Amazon Dropshipping. So I created this in another account, my Excel Sellers account. So this account is separate, right? So now this account is asking for permission. Okay, so now I'm going to select my account. Okay, it's always going to say, oh, Google hasn't verified, because it considers it like an app, right? You're going to click Advanced. and continue only if you understand the risk. Yes, there's no risk, there's nothing going on here. Just go to brands, to suppliers. Google has to do this, right? This is how they protect themselves. And it's going to say allow access. You just say allow, and then that will, now you will be able to use the button. So now what's going to happen, I'm going to click on clear brands, and now you'll be able to clear all of those brands out. And then now if you want to clear the suppliers, okay, you can click on clear suppliers, and the suppliers are going to be cleared as well, all right, from this side. And now you can start fresh. The only thing is this is going to stay, right? But that's fine. You can just press delete if you don't want it, okay? I did not include that. I just did the white sections, which are like where you normally are constantly entering data, right? Now keep in mind, being that this is programmed specifically to these columns, which it is, if you insert a column here or anything, this is going to be deleting the wrong columns, okay? Because it's already programmed to column A, column B, E, F, and you know, as you might already know, when you insert a column, this is what happens. Things get moved, right? So now it's going to be looking for B, E, F, or whatever, and now it's going to be deleting a different column, right, from before. So if you add columns, you're going to throw off the whole thing. Okay, so really the system is not designed for you to add columns, but you can. But I'm just telling you, if you don't use these buttons. Okay, if you want to add columns, you can add columns, but if you're going to add columns, you can't use these buttons because they're programmed specifically to the way the sheet is laid out. Or you have to know enough coding. If you know how to do app script coding, you can go to the script editor, tool script editor. I'll let you actually look at the code right now. I don't mind. This is the code that I wrote for the clear brands and to clear the suppliers. And you can just change these ranges here. So I have like A3 to B, E3 to F, H3, J3 to L, right? J to L. Those are the columns that I set it to delete. And for the suppliers, right, I have O to X, right? So columns from O3 to X, right? So if you're good enough and you know how to, if you understand what I did here and you know how to change these, you can change them. You can insert columns and then you can just change them and update these, okay? I mean, that's, you know, something some people might know how to do. I mean, there might be some of you out there who can figure that out, right? But most of you probably won't want to mess with that, right? So just don't insert columns. By the way, this is the I didn't mention this. This is the number of occurrences. So this is how many times this brand. So when I type in a COPA, it's one occurrence. This is so that when the list gets very long and you begin to forget what's on it, you don't accidentally down here put a COPA again. 2. You're going to see that 2. Why is there 2 here? It means that you're putting it twice. You already put this brand on the list. Occurs 2 times. Okay, number of occurrences, 2. 2 occurrences. It's here twice. Okay, I used the function to do that, formula, and so it calculates automatically. It counts is what it does. It's a countif, right? You can see it, countif. Okay, so it counts the occurrences, right? So basically, that will prevent you from putting the same brand multiple times. Right, so again, this helps you to do quicker research on your brands. It's broken down in the way that I think about it, and so I put my system of what the things I look at, and I basically put those into columns. And I created links that do the things that I do in that process. So I created a link for the Amazon catalog, which is where I check my approval right away. Okay, I made a link for the restricted list, Google restricted list, which is how I check the restricted list on Google to see if it shows up on there, right? I search Amazon to get an idea of what products come up, to see if they have a store. Make sure that they're not selling the product. Okay, looking at the seller, making sure that the brand is not actually selling itself, so to speak, right? Making sure a COPA is not selling a COPA, right? Things like that. So everything's being recorded here, and then the suppliers that they actually come from, right? So this is really, I think this is going to be great for you to organize your whole process. Now, finding brands is a lot of work. Even finding suppliers. There are tons of suppliers out there, but finding suppliers, finding brands from the suppliers that are also on Amazon, that is something that I demonstrate. But it is potentially very time consuming, and depending on how much time you have or don't have, that's going to determine, you know, your ability to do that. So something I'm looking to provide as well, which possibly might be linked on this video, I'm not sure, depends on when you're watching it, but is lists. Okay, lists of brands that I have already researched, that I've found are on Amazon, and then the suppliers that those brands come from, put together already, ready to go. So now all you have to do is you take those brands and you just pop them in here. Okay, in fact, yeah, you do that because you want to keep track, you want to have a record of them for yourself. So of course you're going to put them in here. I will have already checked those brands for approval. I'm not applying to sell them, so if I have approval, you will have approval, basically, because I'm not applying to sell anything. All right, these are brands that have approval, general approval. You know, I check the restrictions, all of that. I use my IP alert Chrome extension to make sure it's not known for IP claims, you know, and you'll just be able to put those brands in here just like this. All right, and then you'll be able to go ahead and look for products. Okay, and that will kind of help you along the way building your database. You can do some on your own, but you can also use some of the ones that I'm finding and I'm going to provide for you. All right, provide to you as well. Okay, so that is something if you're interested in that, a service that I'm providing as well. And so basically that is it. I mean, that is pretty much the system. Make sure you get a copy of this. Create your copy, and then and use it, you know, and stay on my list so I can send you updates. Okay, one of the things that I worked on is actually auto matching, you know, actually automatically taking a bunch of brands and matching them to a list of suppliers, which I didn't mention is that I have a list of suppliers in here also that I just added. These are all the SKU Grid suppliers, all of them, for the United States. And I will come back and add the UK for those who need it. So then when you get that, the updated copy, you'll have the UK. And I forgot to actually demonstrate this. And this will check to make sure that your brand... what this will do is if you want to look... boy, what is this? Yeah, if you want to look at a certain supplier and to see how many brands match that supplier inside of this sheet. Okay, you can do that as well. So down in here... you can look at, where is it? Restaurant store, 6 brands were matched. Okay, for instance, right? 6 matches, it's saying. Because remember, as a demonstration, I put some down here. So that's 1, 2, 3 restaurant stores, 4, 5. It's counting all of these. So it's counting 6, right? Of course, these were just fake ones. I'll just delete them. And you'll see that restaurant found 3 brand matches. So that's if you want to look at the supplier and see how many brands did you find or match to that supplier in this list, right? So you can come here and look at it by supplier also, right? And you can add, by the way, your own suppliers. You can further this list. It automatically checks the whole column, so you can add more suppliers here. You can further the formula, this array formula, which is what actually checks to see the brands. You can just copy that further and further. Okay, and you can add more suppliers here. I'm actually, as I said, going to add more probably as well, but actually you can just go ahead and add more. The most time I add here is like the UK, but then again you'll have to come back and get the copy, or I'll have to send you that new copy, but with those suppliers. But the point here is that you can add any supplier you want. You can just type it in right here. Okay, and it will be on the list, and it will do the same formula here for you. You can put, if it's on, well, these are all the ones on SKU Grid. All right, and then if it's not on SKU Grid, if you find a brand supplier that is not on SKU Grid and you add it to the list, what you're going to do is put false. Here it's not on SKU Grid, so you can put false, right? And that's how this will work. Okay, so that's basically it. I hope that explanation was good enough for you to understand everything you're doing here. You can always contact me as well, but that's basically it in a nutshell. So any comments, questions, suggestions, you can leave them right below this video. You can also contact me via the other methods that I provide. Emails, basically my favorite method organizationally, but I do have Facebook on there, and I might be adding some other social media contacts on there as well. Okay, so you can check to see what else is there. And of course I have my website, which is kind of like my central home, so to speak, of all my different channels. Okay, so anyway, this is Mr. Mark, Self Amazon Dropshipping. Hope to see you around the channel in another video or otherwise, and take care.